Hi
We're back
guys.
after a short hiatus. I know you missed us. Sorry guys, we were a little busy last week. I was getting a haircut.
Yes, and I was getting my toes shaven off.
You're
Yeah, I told you about that.
I was actually traveling to Portugal with Mark Ruffalo
Oh, you didn't tell me
and then
that.
becoming a prostitute.
Oh,
Um
if you would have told
reference to the
if you would have told me, I would have come with you.
reference to the movie that I will be insatiably and disgustingly and strangely talking about for the next month to everyone I know. But we'll get to that later. Um, what's up, Meli? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just surviving life, Yoav.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes ever since I graduated college, I feel
Mm.
that I haven't found much direction in my life. And
Mm.
you know, I thought, why not um get into a love affair with someone's mom?
Oh yeah, I've thought about that, but I was like,
Right,
it's too messy,
right.
you know.
I actually did it,
Oh. Oh, okay. How'd that go for you?
and not very well.
Exactly. That's what I
I
thought.
thought it would end in a smile, but my movie ended in a frown. And why? We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
Today, if you
Woo!
couldn't tell, I was joking. I know I am the type to get with someone's mom. I just can't help it. But kidding. That was referencing the movie we're talking about this week, which
Yeah.
is The Graduate, directed by Mike Nichols from 1967, I believe.
Yes, yes. That's
A
correct.
classic, a classic. But before that, what should we do?
Let's talk about some movie news, guys. Um, Yoav has 2 points to talk about, and then I'm gonna mention the other really big thing that has come out. So Yoav, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll start with this. We didn't get to the Criterion announcements that were a week ago. And I'll just zip through because you know we usually spend too
Yoav,
much time on these.
you are frozen in time. Oh, guys, something is happening. There we go. There we go.
Um,
Continue, sir. Continue, my friend.
so I'll just zip through the Criterion announcements for April. So starting off with a classic French film, La Haine is getting a 4K restoration. Have you seen La Haine?
No, I haven't, but like obviously I
Oh,
know
it's
what that movie is. Like everyone knows what that movie is.
yeah. Um, La Haine is a classic about hatred, I believe, in French society.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that mirror shot
Yeah,
that
of course.
everyone always,
Everyone.
yeah. Um, La Haine, 4K restoration from Criterion, upgrade from Blu-ray. I will be watching this soon, I believe.
I would like to watch it as well, but
Maybe for the pod one day.
yeah.
Um, the next thing we got a 4K restoration on is Picnic at Hanging Rock, which has garnered some
Mm-hmm.
controversy as along with a couple other titles in the last few years since Criterion has been releasing 4K. Picnic at Hanging Rock already has I believe two 4K releases from different boutique labels. And this is just the same restoration, and the same special features from the Blu-ray. So is it worth upgrading? I don't know because the
Mm.
Blu-ray of the film that I believe is now sold out, also included the full novel in it, which is
Oh.
something people really liked. I don't even, it's like I've seen it. I saw it in store. Too bad I didn't pick it up before it was sold out. But it was like this thick. Like it has the whole novel and
Oh
then
wow.
the movie, and it's a digipack. And it's like, is it
Yoav.
worth upgrading to 4K?
Yoav, you're so glitchy right now.
Okay, do you want to stop?
I can hear everything you're saying, but your video, well, now your video's fine, but like before it was like glitchy.
Okay, let's see if it's better now.
Okay.
Um, yeah, have you heard of Picnic on Hanging Rock?
Yeah. Yeah. I have.
It's from the director of um The Truman Show.
Yeah. I don't know his name
Sorry guys,
though.
I'm eating my dinner. Peter Weir. Um,
Peter
kind of
Weird.
this
Sorry.
kind of this gothic weird film from what I understand about girls in some prep school. I don't really know how it works. I can briefly read the description. Sensual and striking chronicle of a disappearance and its aftermath. Um, all female college, St. Valentine's Day outing.
Okay.
Seems interesting. Um, the Bellatar film. Have you heard of Bellatar?
I have not.
Well, Bellatar is the director of Satan Tango and the Turin
Ah,
Horse.
okay. I know that one.
Um, and also this famous movie called Workmeister Memories, or not, sorry, Workmeister Harmonies,
Mm-hmm.
um, which seems fascinating and has gotten a Janus film release recently in a 4K restoration, and now it's going to be on 4K and a Blu-ray upgrade from Criterion. This mesmeric parable of societal collapse is an enigma of transcendental, visual, philosophical, and mysterious resonance adapted from a novel by Lazo. I'm not going to read those names. Seems fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Janus Films restoration trailer for this that just seemed really good. I recommend it for you to check it out. And I wish I caught it in theaters back then. Um, the documentary I Am Cuba by
Mm-hmm.
Mikhail Kalatozov. I've also heard a lot about. It's on the top 250 documentary features list on Letterboxd, so it's been on my list for a while. I saw a trailer for it on the Criterion website and seemed really interesting and apparently about just rebellion in Cuba. Yeah, I just it looks really interesting. And then this movie called Dogfight, which I believe has had a musical adaptation,
Okay.
um, is from I don't know what year, but it's directed by Nancy Savoca, an inevitably bittersweet portrait of youth in the 1960s. Nancy Savoca's funny, sensitive tale of love and war etches two vividly alive characters, aspiring San Francisco folk singer and a hot-headed Vietnam-bound Marine. Seems very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. We'll
So
have to
those
check
are
it
our,
out.
yeah, those are our Criterion announcements. Seems cool. I'm most excited for seeing I Am Cuba. I don't know about you.
I can tell you're excited.
Do you want to briefly talk about what the fuck went on this week?
Guys, yes, let me pull up my list. We got our Oscar noms, dude. I don't, I mean, wow. So, okay. It wasn't all that shocking. Like most of it was pretty expected, but Yoav and I and a few of our other friends watched it live together. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to watch them, but you know what? It was a lot of fun, so I'm not mad about it at all. Um,
Luckily for me, it was 3:30 p.m.,
yeah,
so I was chill.
he got really lucky. Um, Basically, I have like a little list of things that I wrote. So I'll just like read them for a little recap of my thoughts. First of all, obviously Charles Melton, rest in peace. I'm sorry, bud. In my heart, you deserve that
Dude,
nom.
I haven't even seen May December, and I'm sad about that.
Yeah. Everyone is really upset about it, and I really wish that they would have recognized his talent, but nope. And instead, we got Robert De Niro, which I'm like, was he necessary? I don't think he was necessary personally. We also did not get Willem Dafoe. Mark Ruffalo got nominated over Willem Dafoe. Um, which
Now that I've seen Poor Things,
uh-huh.
I don't mind that. I think if I
Okay.
had to choose,
You would
if I had
choose
to
Mark
choose,
Ruffalo.
I don't know about you, but I would
I think they're
probably,
both good in different ways. That's the only thing.
yeah, I would probably nominate both of them for supporting actor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
if I got to choose, but if I had to choose between them, it would probably be Mark.
Yeah. Basically, I also was saying that, like, you know, I don't think the Oscars really, I mean, obviously they all still got nominated for a lot of awards, but the Academy seemed to not particularly be inclined towards Barbie or Killers of the Flower Moon. As for Killers of the Flower Moon, got did not get nom for adapted screenplay. Barbie, obviously Margot didn't get nominated. Greta Gerwig didn't get nominated for director. Instead we got Naiad nominations.
Nuts. I'm just
Crazy.
nuts. Why? I haven't seen Naiad yet, but I've heard it's really bad.
Yeah.
Um, that some parts are even unintentionally funny, especially relating to the performances. And I think, I'm not the biggest Barbie fan, you know it,
Yeah.
and I think you weren't either,
No.
but it kind of sucks because it's like it's Barbie, like it's an event. And Greta Gerwig poured her heart and soul and did it like no other director would have done it.
I do want to say
Um,
though that, like, I don't think that people have been like saying that Greta not getting nominated is sexist, and I don't think it's sexist because we had Justine Triet nominated for Anatomy of a Fall. Also, I'm sorry, but compared to the other directors up there, like, who are you gonna cut out for Greta Gerwig? I'm sorry, like,
right.
those
I
directors.
haven't
Go ahead.
I haven't seen we both haven't seen Anatomy yet.
Actually, well, I started watching it.
Oh,
I'm
what
like,
did you think the direction was good?
yes,
Um,
better than Barbie.
I think people might be upset because
If anything, be
sometimes it
upset for
feels like
Celine's song.
right. I'm just saying sometimes it feels like there's like one female like placeholder, like there
Right.
has,
Yeah.
and I don't like that.
Yes, I agree
But
with
I
you
would
on that.
definitely nominate Celine's song over Greta Gerwig
Hmm.
any day.
And
And
Greta
I like
Lee.
and Greta Lee, obviously.
So that's just that.
Strange.
Um, what else? We got a Perfect Days nomination, which we weren't. I was not expecting that. I don't know if Yoav was, but like,
Ooh, baby.
um,
I was not expecting that, and I was so happy. And now that I've seen the movie, I'm even happier.
we'll talk about that soon. Um, Indiana Jones got nominated for score. What? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. No. I don't even want to talk about it. That's how angry it makes me. Um, Original song threw me for a loop because I was not expecting the Hot Cheeto song to get nominated. And then only two Barbie songs, and we didn't get the Rustin song, Road to Freedom.
Hot
Um
Cheeto.
whatever, the Flamin' Hot song. Um what else? What else? What else? Leo didn't
Um,
get nominated, which is okay. I'm not mad about
I
that.
would talk about Killers missing adapted.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, did he talk? Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Um, which is bonkers, guys.
Yeah.
Killers not getting adapted is batshit bonkers. Like what? Like what the? Like what? I
What else
can't
was there?
believe it.
There was another thing that was really whack.
Um, I don't know. Asteroid City did not get a production design. That
Right.
was upsetting to
No, no.
me.
Honestly, Past Lives in general underperforming was upsetting.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think I would have
What
nominated it for
else?
so much more.
Oh,
Original score as well.
I'm very happy with I mean, I'm personally very happy. Well, okay, no. I'm rooting for Society of the Snow. I haven't seen Zone of Interest yet, but I'm gonna be watching that soon. But as of right now, I'm voting for Society. I'm hoping it gets the best makeup, because wow, and I'm hoping I don't know. I have to watch other international movies first before I can make a decision on that. But yeah. Oh, Sandra
Um,
Hüller got nominated for actress in a leading role. Awesome.
which was nice. Um, before after we had the last episode, there were the BAFTAs as well, which didn't nominate Lily Gladstone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was
which I
crazy.
guess we can kind of touch on the
Yes.
Stone versus
Let's
Stone
touch
kind
on
of thing
that.
going on here. Um, I think the direction the Academy might be going is probably Emma.
Yeah, guys, Lily Gladstone might kiss that Oscar goodbye, which is so sad. But also, I don't want to make any assumptions yet until I see the
Right.
SAG decisions because
Mhm.
although they don't always align, sometimes you could kind of see which way they lean. So I'm curious to see which way they're gonna lean.
Well, I think this is definitely going to be um one of the tightest races during Oscar season this year.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. America Ferrera got an actress supporting role nomination, which is so weird, man. So weird. I'm sorry. Did not think she was Oscar worthy in that movie, but people could beg to differ. Also, May December did get original screenplay, which is awesome. Only nomination for May December, which is quite sad. That's okay. Other than that, I'm like, I think we've kind of briefly touched on everything.
Maybe we'll do an Oscars like pick and prediction kind of
Yeah,
special episode
yeah.
before they happen. Well, we might figure that out.
We'll see.
Or maybe it'll be something on our Patreon, I guess.
Yeah.
Um to sum up our movie news, a very important director, I think, at least for me, even though I haven't seen a lot of his films, would be Norman Jewison, director of Moonlight, Moonlight, Jesus Christ,
No, that's
Moonstruck,
that's okay, yeah.
Fiddler on the Roof, In the Heat of the Night, Jesus Christ Superstar, The Thomas Crown Affair, very famous during the 70s, 80s. He passed away sadly, on January 20th. At a good age, he was 94 years old. Um, and as someone who loves Moonstruck so much, rest in peace, dude. He was also a famous playwright, so just check out his movies, please.
Nice. I love Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, I do too. If I were a rich man, yabba
A very
dee.
fun movie.
Well, fun fact, the main actor in that movie, Chaim Topol, is like a very big deal in this country because he's Israeli. And I watched a movie this week, um, with him starring in it. But I
Oh,
guess we'll get
cool.
to that.
All right.
Do
Well,
you
yeah,
have any other
I
movie news,
don't.
or should
I don't. I think we should move on to what we
we hop
watched.
over? How many movies did you watch this week,
So, I only watched 3, which I thought I watched more, but now that I
or in
think
the
about
last
it,
2 weeks?
yeah, I only watched 3, but then again, I had rehearsal and all that stuff, so it makes sense. I do you want me to
That's
go
actually
first?
perfect. That's actually perfect because I watched four. So we
Perfect.
can do
Okay.
like a 1-1-1-1 kind of
Awesome.
situation.
Okay,
Are you
you go
down?
first. Yeah, let's do
Okay.
it.
Um, so I started my week in theaters, watching Brian De Palma's Blowout, starring John Travolta.
Ooh.
For the second time. Have you haven't seen it, have you?
I haven't, but I've heard of it, obviously.
What a fun movie. It was so fun in theaters. I mean, it's a movie. I'll just explain the plot, like I'll explain the premise to you.
Hmm.
This guy whose job it is to collect sound effects
Okay.
for movies and just sound effects in general. One day, whose job is like to go around the world and just record sounds, which is such an amazing, and like to be a sound advisor. One day accidentally records a murder that
Oh.
occurs. He gets entangled in it. Um, it's like a paranoia thriller kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely recommend. I
Okay.
definitely think it's a fun action movie. Action, I don't know, thriller for sure, with a devastating ending that comes out of left field. But the cinematography is so beautiful, and Brian De Palma, you can expect like cool split screens, like you've seen Carrie, right? That kind of
Come
that kind of
on.
interesting energy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know you've seen Carrie. I was just like that was kind of like a rhetorical
Oh,
kind
rhetorical. Okay,
of.
okay. Nice.
Um, what was the first thing you watched?
First thing I watched was Killing of the Sacred, well, rewatch actually. Killing of the Sacred Deer. Um, yeah, I watched it for the film club that my friends and I run. Um, very I mean, I liked it a lot more on a rewatch. It's a very creepy movie. Yorgos Lanthimos, um, king shit.
Yeah.
Um,
King shit.
Barry Keoghan and um Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman. It's so eerie and it really gets under your skin and it like pokes you and pricks you and it's like oh and
Yeah.
the ending is fucking crazy if you guys have seen it.
Have you you've seen The Favorite, The Lobster, Killing of a
Yes.
Sacred Deer, and Poor
Yes.
Things?
Yes.
How would you what would be your ranking for them? I'm interested.
Ooh. Okay, I think top number 1 is Poor Things.
Mhm.
Number 2 is The Favorite. Number 3, I think I'm gonna go Sacred Deer. Number 4, Lobster.
Okay, well, only seen The Lobster now, Poor Things, but
Yeah.
that's a good ranking. I feel
Mhm.
like solid
So
and
yeah,
like generally accepted. Yeah.
yeah. Your next
Um,
movie,
I will get to Killing of a Sacred Deer one day.
yes, you
Excited to get to
will.
it. But I'm scared. I watched Society of the Snow. I mean, what a what a brave movie that's also manages to be so sensitive. And I feel like out of all the true story movies I've seen this year, this is definitely the most intense one, which is saying a lot. Because Killers of the Flower Moon fucking released this year. Um, I think I was definitely so intensified. Um, and I was watching it with my parents and we were just having a blast. I mean, not having a blast,
What?
like not
No,
having
no,
a blast, but
I know what you mean. I know
we
what you
were all
mean.
like is in that plane crash scene. I haven't heard my parents so silent during a movie in a while.
The
um
fact, okay, I'm sorry, but the fact that it did not get nominated for like sound is crazy to
Crazy.
me. It's crazy. But Mission
Well,
Impossible
this
Dead Reckoning will get nominated?
right.
Like
Yeah.
what? What? Come on. Come
Strange.
on.
Um it it is just wonderful. It's one of the best films of 2023. Um, my only critique would be I wish it was like half an hour longer. I told this to Meli. I wish we could just see a little bit more of their life before the plane crash. That would really be my only thing. And also sometimes like some choices just felt a little Wikipedia page kind of thing. But also that's so incredibly hard to avoid. And I think they went farthest away from it as they could
Hmm.
when it comes to true story filmmaking. So
Yeah.
that was Society of the Snow, 4 out of 5 for me.
The next movie I watched was actually also Society of the Snow. I watched it before Yoav, and then I kind of
Yeah.
made him watch it. I've been making everyone watch it actually. Success so far. We've got a lot of people watching it.
Well,
Um,
because it's on Netflix, so you can just be like, oh, it's on Netflix. And they're
yeah,
like, oh, that's where I consume all my media.
exactly. But I fucking sorry, I'm like cursing a lot. I love this movie so much. I thought it was so good. Like because again, like a lot of like movies that you watch about true stories, not necessarily biopics, because I wouldn't call this a biopic, but like more just like based off of like true events, is so like Yoav said, almost Wikipedia-ish, but also
Mhm.
like very like surface level. And I feel like a lot of the time it doesn't really like dig deep um
Yeah.
into like the actual like human experience of it. And that's why I really like this because like it really shows like human resilience and like what like people can achieve when they work together in such like awful and like dangerous like circumstances. And so I really like that. I thought the acting and the actors were all phenomenal and the fact that they looked
Yeah.
so much like their actual counterparts is
Crazy
crazy.
makeup.
I mean,
Makeup
wow.
in general. Wow.
Yeah, and I watched like some videos from some of the actors talking about how much they had to lose weight.
Mhm.
In the beginning they had to gain weight and then slowly they lost it. They were like on a
Insane.
monitored diet. Like literally like I saw videos of them like they could only eat like 2 servings of food And afterwards, like, they're literally licking their plates because that's how hungry they are. And it was all like monitored by doctors, so like don't worry, like it
Mhm,
was safe. But
mhm.
like the dedication to the film was crazy. So I really liked it. I gave it a 5 out of 5.
No movie this year has made me feel so proud of being a human being. You know what I mean?
Right?
Like, what a
Right?
strong species we are.
Yeah.
Um, what a resilient it's kind of a feel good
No, like
kidding.
in a way I could see like it kind of is because like you're so
Like the ending, I don't
yeah.
know. It makes you feel so awful, but also
Mhm.
like kind of proud of being a human,
Yeah.
like I said.
I was yelling and screaming. I was like,
Yeah.
what? That was me the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. I take that back. It's definitely not feel good, but you know what I mean. Like it's definitely
I
yeah.
got it.
You know what is feel good?
What?
Feel good. That's also not a great way of
Okay.
describing this movie. The new Vim Vendors, Perfect Days. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Watch it in theaters. This guy's face and his eyes, Koji Akusho's eyes. Wow. Oh wow. It makes the movie really best eye acting of the year. And I'm saying that in a
Really?
year that Oppenheimer came out.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
it just feels like a swan song. You know what I mean? Perfect
Mm-hmm.
Days. It's so it literally like inspire it's one of the few movies that just inspired me to write poetry for like Letterboxd, which doesn't happen a lot. Um and I wrote like a little bit of a poem for my review because it is actually such a poetic movie and so sweet and simple and just feels like you're watching a Vim Vendor like he's not Vim Vendors for no reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's Vim freaking Wenders, you know. You go to see the new Vim Vendors movie. That's like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was sure it would be my favorite thing that I watched this week.
But it
But perhaps not.
wasn't.
What's your next movie?
Okay, my next movie, and I'm gonna make this quick. I watched Maestro. There's another movie about a real person, real thing, whatever. Not good. Sorry. I mean, I didn't it's I didn't go in with low expectations because obviously I know the production value is gonna be high, and it was.
Mhm,
But I just did not like it. As I was telling Yoav, I kind of went in with the same amount of information about Leonard Bernstein as I did coming out. I didn't learn anything new about him.
mhm.
Um, and usually in a biopic, that's what happens. You learn something, you learn at least one new thing
Yeah,
about this person, and I literally did
yeah.
not learn anything new. Um, for a movie about such a famous, um, and not even famous, but such an important figure in like the classical music world, in the conductor world, he's I it it felt so like I don't know, like why was there nothing about music? Like I was expecting so much more. And
Yeah.
very Oscar baity as everyone's been saying. It, it's not good. Sorry.
You know, I think I like this movie a little bit more than you, but I talked to someone this week who liked it better than Tar. And I was talking to him like, that's
Oh,
such a
see,
whack. That's a crazy take.
not only is that a crazy take, that take is just flat out wrong. That is so
Um,
wrong.
you know what's so crazy is the amount of creativity that went into crafting a fictional character like Tar,
Mm-hmm.
and how Bradley Cooper had so much to work with about this
Mm-hmm.
guy's life. As I learned, as Meli talked to me about his like humanitarian work and everything he's done, I thought I was a big fan of Leonard Bernstein and knew a lot about him, but I guess not. Like he has this whole humanitarian side to him. Like I think there's so much source material to
Mm-hmm.
you could have just chosen a small period of time and like shown.
Exactly.
Um, you know, I have no problem with showing the bad parts of celebrities in biopics, but
No, because
and
I
please do. I literally encourage to
sorry,
do that. It's just
I just want to say that I felt like the movie the whole time it was just villainizing him. it just made him look bad. Like literally, it was like shitty person, shitty person, shitty person, shitty actions. Like
There are parts where I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like he's had some lines about art where I was like, that's poetic and nice. But
no,
yeah.
it's not everything about it is bad. It's just like
Yeah.
individually certain components are good, but then like it just doesn't work.
It's funny because the most emotional I got in the movie was Carrie Mulligan. One, Carrie Mulligan's like whole thing at the end there is devastating. I'm such
Yeah.
a sucker for that. Like I know it's tear jerking like on purpose, but I teared up because I couldn't really help it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because Carrie Mulligan was also so theatrical and wonderful, but the most emotional I think I was is then and then the ending where they were showing a clip of Bernstein composing, which is always the most
The
wonderful
real
thing to
Bernstein.
watch. The real
Yes,
Bernstein.
that's different.
That's when I was like, wow, what a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I just that's the biggest thing that left Carrie Mulligan, and that clip is the biggest thing that stayed in my mind.
right.
I've seen videos of Bernstein directing tons of times. And it's always so emotional. And I've definitely teared up to videos like that before. Um, but yeah. What'd you rate it? Three? Four?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3.
Um,
Yoav, your last movie?
So I watched the masterpiece of the year, the best picture of the year, the most phenomenal, the moment, the everything. It's everything right now. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm so fucking enthusiastic about this movie. I can't with how fucking enthusiastic I am. I was really like literally sitting at home after I watched the movie and like literally giggling to myself. Like I was so enthusiastic
Yeah,
and I still am. And I Oh, Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things.
yeah.
Um, 2023, Best Picture of 2023. Hands down, I just can't think of a movie that's so this incredibly inventive. I told Meli I feel like I saw like I felt like those people in the Renaissance that were seeing like Da Vinci's work for the first time, and like that's how it feels. It feels like something truly original, truly new, truly brave filmmaking that I haven't seen in so long. So incredibly brave, adventurous, funny, dark, sad, romantic, erotic, thrilling, scary. I mean, strange, but also straightforward in a way. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything makes sense in this world. I have
Yeah.
so much to say about this because it's so dense as well. It's just such a work of art. Um, I'm down to watch this anytime, any day, with 1,000 times. I'm sure I'll watch it again for sure before the Oscars. Um, I'm sending everyone to go watch this right now. Literally drop your whole watch list right now. Go to see Poor Things. Like,
Just so
wow.
good.
Um, you I think you like it as much as I did. We both
Oh
rated
yeah,
it
we
five.
both gave it 5 stars. I mean, just fantastic, incredible, out of this worldly, like wow.
I mean, there's nothing like it. There's
Like
really nothing like it. I
movies
can't
like
compare it to
that,
anything.
movies like that like give me hope.
Yeah. Just this- guys, what a reflection on the world we live in
Mm-hmm.
and what it means to be human firstly, and then secondly, um what it means to experience the world um in a new we watched in film class a Stan Brakhage film. Who's like an experimental artist, and his movie was trying to capture what it feels like to be like really early childhood. And he's like, oh, it's all bullshit, like saying that you have these memories and you have these experiences like are engraved into you. What he's saying is that at least in his movie is just full of flashing colors and just in describable like visions of just non-specific things and like
Mm-hmm.
blurry colors. And I feel like that's how Bella sees the world, and that's captured so well in this
Yeah.
colorful lens. um and I feel like they really go hand in hand, scenes from early childhood and Poor Things. Just I mean, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I want a poster of this in my room. I want a hoodie of this in my house. and I will literally be Mark Ruffalo's character for Halloween, I think.
Wow, look at you. Well, guys,
Oh.
Ooh, that concludes this segment. And yeah, we're now gonna move on to the graduate segment.
Let's
Um,
go.
so I don't know. We'll see you guys there in a moment with our backgrounds up and our stockings on.
Great job.
Clothes off. Just kidding.
Clothes off, stockings on.
Yep.
All right.
I'm not
Bye-bye.
no more transitions after. No more transitions. You're just gonna have to suck
They're
it up and
done.
deal with the cut. All right? Bye. Okay, guys.
Boom. Six transition. Um, guys,
Woo! Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
The
Simon and
Graduates,
Garfunkel.
but soundtracked by I like how it thinks it's a person. It's so funny. Soundtracked by Simon and Garfunkel. The Graduate, directed by Mike Nichols. I don't
Hell
own the
yeah.
Criterion for this, but I own the vinyl.
Love it.
So wow. Guys, this is a classic. This is a classic.
Hell yeah. I think we should just
My yeah.
I was gonna say I think we should just dive right in.
Yeah, I was
Literally.
just
Yeah.
um I've seen this movie before. Meli hasn't. So she has to start.
Okay. First note was I feel this is what I wrote. I feel so claustrophobic right now. Oh my fucking god. These people all bombarding him. This is an introvert's nightmare.
Yeah,
That first scene, I was literally getting anxiety because I've been in his position before where
me
you
too.
have all these old people like going up to you and like asking you like the same question and like, oh, no, no, no. Just my heart, I was like, oh, oh, oh,
And
PTSD, PTSD.
then he runs upstairs. He runs back.
Yeah.
Um, the opening to this film, it starts with him at an airport,
Oh
which
yeah,
is such
sorry,
an
I
interesting
forgot that there was
choice.
a whole scene before that.
No, it's okay. I wrote one note before the scene at his party. Opening your movie with an airport. Um, an airport is a liminal space, a space like between. It's strange. Being in the terminal when you're technically not in any country, but in under the airport's like liminal jurisdictions. You're going on, um, you're going on walkways. You're doing a journey. But you're not necessarily taking that big stride that is getting into the airplane because the airplane is taking you places, but you really don't have control over that once you get on it. And
Yeah,
just starting this movie in this liminal space in between things when he's not really going, like, instead of seeing him continue on the treadmill, there's a not treadmill, how it's called, in the
that's
walkway or whatever.
yeah. Wait, like the moving walkways?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what
Instead
they're
of
called, but
just seeing his continuance on the moving walkways, there's a dolly shot and you're just staying with him because he's moving, but there's not actually kinetic energies just in this place in between places. And I think that's such a genius way of starting the movie and like encapsulating his character immediately.
real.
Obviously with the sound of silence playing in the background, a very iconic credit sequence, really.
Hmm.
Um, and then we go to his house. What else did you think of that scene? Because just the beginning with the fish tank and it's
I
wow.
I was also just saying I love how tight the camera work is and
Oh yeah.
how like it was like a lot of it was focused just kind of on his face or like up here. And so
Mhm.
that's why it also felt so claustrophobic because you're so close to him. It's like you are him in that sense. And then I kind of said that it reminds me a little bit of like Shiva Baby. You've watched Shiva
I
Baby.
literally wrote this. I literally wrote that.
Yeah, like
Same line.
very similar tight camera work. Like
Very
that kind of
influential for this, I think.
yes.
Honestly one of the most influential movies of all time,
Yeah.
hands down. The visual imagery of this movie has tried to been replicated millions of times. This, like you said, the framing, the cinematography is so tight and also always meaningful. There's not one shot in this movie that you can't analyze, because it's just incredibly shot.
Yeah.
And this blocking and the staging and Mike Nichols' direction, it's
Yeah.
just the way he frames these conversations is so indicative of the power dynamics between characters, the relationship to each other, the relationship with themselves. When he chooses to introduce each character, how does he choose to introduce them? Um, Paired with these wonderful performances, but I guess we'll get to that.
Mhm.
That original party scene, people are just crowding him. He never in the whole movie, he's never framed in like a comfortable way.
No,
It's not
never.
conventionally framed, or he's not filmed in a comfortable way. You're not like, oh, that's conventional, like he's just walking from one place to another. It's always weird. It's always like the camera is trailing a little past behind him, or he's not exactly centered on the frame.
Yeah.
And there's always a weird like sometimes he's not even lit well, like his face is in the dark and the person he's talking like
Mhm.
he never feels in place. And he's just walking around his own house like he's a stranger to his own house and the people in it. There's one guy that tells him the girls, the chicks, the teeny poppers. What a weird line. Such a strange, I mean, not strange, like a very familiar situation for every young person.
Mhm.
Did you like relate to his character? Because I definitely like the more I get older, I
In some ways I
relate to him.
did, and I was kinda like, "Oh." I was like, "Well, I'm graduating soon." High school, not college,
Yeah,
but I was like, "I'm graduating high school soon and, like, moving on to, like, another really important part of my life," and
yeah,
I was kinda thinking like, "Well, what if my life in a way is like his, you know, or at one point or another I feel lost?" And I probably will, it happens to a lot of humans.
yeah.
Um, so I
I feel
guess in
lost
that
all the
way.
time.
Yeah,
It's hard to find direction when you're young. That's like the truth for everyone.
obviously.
Even when you're still in high school and you're not in between schools.
Yeah.
It's a very relatable feeling for every young person. I think it's interesting that like age group has a representation in this movie. Like the older person might relate to Mrs. Robinson's lack
Mhm.
of direction as an elderly woman going through some kind of crisis.
Yep.
And the younger person will relate to Ben's difficulty
Mhm.
of being in the world around him. Um and then they introduce the water motif with the fish tank that's so loud in your ear.
Yes.
Um, what did you think of the use of water in this movie? Because it's so
It's okay, well, we have obviously, like, the fish tank, we have the pool, lots of pool
Mhm.
water, um, we even had the fountain at Berkeley,
There's
um,
rain,
there is rain.
sweat.
Sweat, yes, sweat is something that I wanted to talk about,
Mhm.
but more in, like, okay, well, that's different
Yeah,
later. Water, okay, I'm
'cause I
just
have a
trying to.
theory.
Oh, okay, say your theory.
I think his the water represents insecurity or like the things that are bothering him in life.
Okay.
The first shot you see of him is with the fish tank and nothing's around him but the fish swimming in the water. And it's like it's already like the water is engulfing him. And when he goes into the pool, you know, then he leaves the fish tank. Which again, it's like the fish tank is like an enclosure for fish where fish feel comfortable, and then he leaves the fish tank into this world of adults. It's
Mm,
exactly like the feelings he's going through. So that's one thing. But the water represents his insecurity, um, and the things he's worried about in life, and how they're engulfing him, especially when he's in the bottom of the pool, which happens twice in this movie.
yeah.
The water is he's physically like drowning in all of the insecurity and the pressures around him. That's like my kind of take on the water,
Mhm.
but it's definitely there. It's a very prominent
Well,
thing.
this scene was, like, crazy.
Yeah.
Again, the
What
camera work was,
how'd you feel with that scene?
um I felt trapped just like he did,
Mhm.
obviously, but you can tell that like well, first of all, this was just really random. This whole getup is really
It's very funny. It's very funny.
um but you can just tell that he feels so out of place and he doesn't like really know what he wants to do. And
Yeah,
I guess what you're saying about the water, like yeah, he's just drowning in his insecurities and like he doesn't really know where to go with his life or what direction to take. So the only thing he knows how to do is just like wallow in that.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
before that pool scene, you get that scene in the first scene in Mrs. Robinson's home, with the
Oh,
leg
I
kick.
I got
Such
notes.
such an iconic shot. I've seen that scene so many times in film class, in various film classes. So I've already analyzed it beyond
I
anything, but I
okay,
want to
well,
know what you thought
I
of it.
I do want to say first, I have a lot of like small like sporadic notes. So first of all, um whenever whenever she's like trying to lead him into the house and she's like, "Oh, can you open the door?" He's like, "Okay." And then
Small manipulations.
and then she's like, "Oh, can you like lead me inside? Like it's so dark." And he's like, "Dude, I started dying of laughter." He was like, "But it's light in there." I was like, "Oh."
His
I was
reaction, this whole movie is much funnier than I remembered it
yeah,
being. Like it's so goofy, and
it
his character
is.
is just so funny.
He is
His
so
reactions,
funny. Oh my
yeah.
God. I was dying. That part had me cackling. And oh my God. So they go inside. This man is having a full-blown crisis. He is sweating. He, you can see the droplets
Beads,
coming down
beads,
his
sweat.
face.
Yeah.
Um, he is panicking. And
Mhm.
I was also just saying that, well, again, lots of little notes. I don't know why I put down there that the music is so good. I don't know if there's even music there, but um the music in this movie is I love the
Oh, the
soundtrack.
yeah,
I
amazing.
I know a lot of people got sick of it, but I didn't, so
I
that's
don't
just
know, it's
me.
still incredibly impactful. I don't care that they repeat the same songs.
Yeah.
Actually, I like that better than like a crowded soundtrack full of like that kind of takes away from what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Wait, are you gonna analyze it?
um the scene where she tries to get him to drink, I've seen many times in film classes. I
Okay.
won't analyze it too deep because I don't want to go through like a PowerPoint of like what's going on, but the way they represent like bigger and smaller in the screen, obviously, but the way
Mm-hmm.
they represent how things are going for each character is fascinating. I love this trick that cinematographers use with upwards and downwards slopes.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice this from now on, now that I tell you. I recommend for you to start looking out for it because it's definitely there in a lot of films. I've
Okay.
even used it in my films. Um, in the films I've like uh cinematographed for what however you say that. Um, is when they film a floor or like a wall or some kind of slope, if it's an upward slope, then it means something's going well for the character, for the story. And if it's a downward slope, it's a downward slope and things are going downhill for
Mm-hmm.
this character. And they use it so well in this scene. And they use all these kind of different slopes, filming of the tables and the line. Because you could just film something symmetrically like Wes Anderson, but choosing to film it from the right, choosing to film it from the left will cause a slope from the wall or the bar or whatever. And just uses it wonderfully, which is also a trick I really like. Obviously, how Mrs. Robinson like physically overwhelms him. That shot, that iconic shot of her leg around him.
Yeah.
Um, did you, did that, you know, isn't that scene astounding?
Yes. Honestly, all of it is astounding. Like
All
I
the
was
camera work for sure.
I was talking about the editing when she's stripped nude. Oh my
Oh, wondrous.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
So
blown
cool.
away. I had never
Yeah.
seen editing done like that before.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I was like, It reminds me of, like, those kinda subliminal message, type things,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Um, but I was like, "Wow, wow, 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 wow," like, oh, so good.
Editing is wonderful. Dustin Hoffman, like we said, is so funny and his performance is so influential. I definitely say Adam Sandler, Punch Drunk Love, Rachel Sennett, Shiva Baby, so many others, like so many awkward performances have
Yeah.
built on this amazing reactionary performance. What were you thinking of Dustin Hoffman?
Very I mean, I don't know how he played this character so I mean, he's a master actor, but, like, he
Right.
played this character so well, oh my god, like, everything, his mannerisms, his responses, um, even the way he would run was perfect, down to a
Was so
T.
funny as well.
Yeah, like, he had the comedic aspect down where I was, like, laughing my ass off, but he also had this, like, sad puppy dog aspect to him as well, where I, like, felt so
Yeah,
bad for him. Um, he portrayed this character phenomenally.
perfectly. Um, do you have any other things before he starts the affair with Mrs. Robinson?
Um, my only other thing was just that my one note was, like, he's just so awkward, like, he's everything he's just such
Uh,
an awkward lad.
that picture behind you, that's still behind you, is just a perfect amalgamation of what's his character. Um, so they go into the hotel, and that's also insanely awkward how he calls her from the telephone booth, and the sound design is also so intense and awkward, and he's really awkward to the hotel clerk, which by the way is played by Buck Henry, the star of Taking Off.
Mm,
Um, just a really fun scene in that hotel room, and he's getting in all these mishaps with the people and the event there and the toothbrush, and she's just drinking, and he's trying to get the waiter's attention, which by the way is very relatable as an awkward man myself. It happens to me a lot, trying to get the waiter's attention, but they don't care. And then Mrs. Robinson's just like, excuse me, and then they come. Like it's just like
yeah,
that. It's all about confidence, you know. Um, just that whole scene in the hotel is very funny to me.
mhm.
What were you thinking?
I agree, again, like, everything about it is so iconic, especially when they get to the room,
Yeah.
but, like, yeah, I could just feel his awkward tension oozing through the screen, like, I just wanted to take his shoulders and, like, shake him and just be like, "No, stop," like, oh my god, and when he was, like, talking to the front desk guy, and he oh my god, just so funny. "Yeah, I can get someone to get your bags." "Nope, nope, they're in the car." "Okay,
Mr.
we can get it for you."
Gladstone. Mr. Gladstone, more like Lily Gladstone.
Oh!
And in that first hotel room where the most awkward moment, I think, like
Was
in
when
terms
he
of
kissed her.
awkwardness, when he kissed her, one, when she holds the smoke in her mouth, but also when he
Yeah.
touches her breast and he puts her hands on it for like a, and she's like, "This is your first time."
Dude, I was like, "Oh my god." I was like,
So
"No."
awkward. So awkward. Um, every scene in the hotel room in this movie is phenomenal. The writing, the performances. What were you thinking when they were beginning their love affair?
Part of me was like, "Is it gonna happen?" You know?
Mhm.
Like, part of me was like, is he actually gonna go through with it?" And I guess, yeah, he did. Part now that I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, when he started this affair, it was probably the one thing in his life that he had control
Mhm.
over, that he was
Which
able
he
to
did, even that he never had control over.
yeah. But he kind of thought that, like, okay, he's so lost
Yeah,
that this is the one thing he has control over, and, like, he's able to, I guess
it's really two lost people, you know.
yeah, it is, because she's lost in
He's
her
able
own
to,
way.
yeah, he's able to what?
Um, no, I was gonna say, he's able to, I guess, take action and one out of one aspect in his life.
Yeah. for once. You know what I mean?
But then
Like
slowly it
some
starts
kind of
to.
yeah. She is lost in her own way. Again, some criticism that people have of this movie that I kind of share is like the lack of Mrs. Robinson. Like I would
Mhm.
have loved a little more Mrs. Robinson. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree with that. And then I did really like how she kinda was talking about how, she was kind of forced into her marriage. Um,
Yeah, that
she
scene in
she
the dark with
she
the
couldn't
play with the
pursue
light
art.
switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sleep in
So
separate beds.
yeah.
It's sad, you know? You don't want your
So
relationship to
yeah.
be like that.
So she's a tragic character, and that scene in the hotel room when they with the light play, with the light on and off, and the blocking, and the way it's shot is so incredible. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like I think like a 7, 8 minute scene. It's just beautifully made and blocked, like kind of
Yeah.
like a stage play. Um, and you know that it's master filmmaking when every scene feels like a arc in itself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
It feels like a short film. Like there's a beginning, middle, and end to every scene and the progression. Because these scenes are really long, for
Yeah,
the
they
most
are.
part. Um, Mrs. Robinson, I think you're the most attractive of all of my parents' friends. Um,
What a weird thing. Bless you. Holy shit. Holy shit.
I
Uh,
surprised myself on that one.
wow. Um,
Sorry, what'd you say?
I was gonna say that's a weird thing to say, man. You're the most
Um,
attractive of my parents' friends. Like,
I think the ultimate reason he decides to sleep with her for the first time, though, is because she upsets his male ego at the end of the day.
yeah, yep,
She's
yep,
like,
yep.
she calls him a virgin, the most painful of all. Yeah, he's such a weak-willed person, I
Hmm.
guess. So yeah, and then you get this montage of him laying around not doing anything during the day and sleeping with Mrs. Robinson at night,
Yep.
set to Simon and Garfunkel. We need more Simon and Garfunkel montages in this world.
I do want to
Wonderful.
say another one of
Yeah.
my favorite editing moments in this movie was when
Uh-huh.
he jumped and dives into the pool and then it transitions to him
I
like
would yeah.
so
Iconic
good.
transition.
So good.
Yeah.
And then he's immediately snapped out of it whenever was it her husband? Her husband is
Yeah.
like looming over him and is like, "Oh, hi, you're not doing anything
No,
again."
that's not her husband. That's
Who is
that's his
it?
dad.
Oh, okay, okay,
His
okay.
dad. Which
His
is
dad.
funny because his dad looks like her husband and his mom looks like Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, it's weird.
Strange.
Weird.
So yeah, that scene that's there's three really cool editing moments that are like most blatant for me. Well, two really blatant ones and one that's probably my favorite.
Hmm.
Um is one is like we said, the first time she strips. Second is obviously that cut, that transition is so smooth. And the
Yes.
third one is
Oh, I think
you
I
know
know.
what? I'll get to it later.
I think I know which one you're gonna say,
What
but
do you think?
no, no,
What do
no.
you think?
I don't want to say it yet.
Okay, then we'll get to it later. It's like near the end of the movie.
Okay.
That's my favorite. Um, but yeah, and then he takes Elaine out for a date and ruins
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Um,
Um.
do you want to talk about that date? Because it's so painful. I can't even talk about it. I don't want to talk about
Oh my God. Even trying to sabotage it. Why would you take the poor girl to a strip club? That oh my God.
it.
Oh my God. I felt my secondhand embarrassment. Like when that lady was like whipping the tassels, I was like, no, no, no. Oh, just bad. Just bad.
And then he kind of fixes it with her,
Yeah.
which is so, the second I'm saying literally the only other thing that bothers me in this movie is probably Elaine's character and how weak-willed she is. I would have liked a stronger I would have liked her character to take more after her mom,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of because she's very weak to him. She's
Yes,
very
yes.
weak-willed. Just like they're both very weak-willed characters and mirror each other in different ways. I just
Mhm.
wish she was a little more stronger as a character as her mom.
Yeah.
Um, I wish they drew that connection. But she is very weak-willed, and he manages to earn her heart back like he does in every time going on from then. Um, but yeah, his date awful, crucially awful.
Just bad.
Um, But then, he's so happy after the date ends up
Yeah.
going well. And this movie does such a great job of making you feel his emotions, like when he's scared, when he's tense, when he's happy. Especially with Simon and Garfunkel, when he's feeling melancholy or
Mhm.
depressed. It's does such a great job of putting you in his shoes.
Yeah.
That it's hard not to be a little happy for him once he wins Lane back.
Mhm.
Um And I think he felt firsthand embarrassment when he took her to the strip club. I know
Oh,
his eyes are
definitely.
covered by the thing, but it's an awful thing to do, an awful choice, and I think he was feeling it for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and then Elaine goes to Berkeley, and the whole stalker thing starts.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think? What were you feeling? Because the
Well,
second, it's like
one thing
last act of the movie.
yeah, one thing I'm feeling is that he definitely again, he's like, "I'm gonna get married to her. I'm gonna ask her to be my wife," which is weird.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's weird. Um, but again, it's him trying to take control over something, and he's like, "This is something that I can do that can, like, help my future, help me find a path, a way to go about life, and I know
yeah,
marriage is that, so I'm gonna marry her." And I'm like,
girl,
"Okay,
man.
interesting." And then he goes to Berkeley.
But by the way, that shot of him in the car going to Berkeley on the bridge and in the forest, so
So
amazing.
good, so good.
Um, Again, the music is like interesting because they use a Simon and Garfunkel song, that has like a nice chord beat, and you would think like in a traditional movie it would like sync up with the cuts, but no, it's always like a few seconds off, because again, nothing lines up in his life.
Mhm.
Um, and these cuts of and shot of between shots of him in the forest and stuff. Um, and he starts his stalker phase, and it's very difficult to watch as
It
well.
is, it is.
But some kind of tonal shift happens here. It kind of becomes a different movie.
Yes, for sure.
In an interesting way.
It
Which is not
becomes less funny.
it becomes less funny, it becomes more serious, which is not, the most famous like imagery and things about this movie and lines come from the first half. And the
Mhm.
second half, people talk about it less in terms of the stalker ring and all that. Um, so what were you thinking in this kind of play between him and
I
Elaine?
I think I don't know because their relationship to me is so weird because they knew each other in high school or something, I guess. Like maybe
Yeah.
for like they like overlapped by like a year or two or
Yeah.
something. Um and it was just like weird because, it's like they seem to know each other but not super well and like he's I don't know. I was just like weirded out by it. And like him following her around everywhere and like trying to get her to like I don't want to say like fall back in love or something, whatever. Like it was just odd.
Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd power dynamic. It's
Mhm.
very odd. Um, so first time I watched this, I was like way less connected to Ben's character in the second half, and it kind of happened again this time, but I do kind of understand his mentality here.
Mhm.
Again, I think this movie gets much more resonant for me the older I get. I think
Yeah.
it's something I can always come back to and find pieces of myself within Ben and within Mrs. Robinson and within Elaine and pretty much all the characters in this movie.
Mhm.
But again, this is a very awkward secondhand embarrassment sequence of him trying to get her back, and then he goes to the zoo.
Yeah.
We thought we thought you said by the monkey house. Like and it's just so awk. And I didn't write a lot of notes because I was just like this whole sequence.
Yeah. The part I do want to say the part though I was laughing when he was in the library and he was like whispering in her ear and then she like stormed
And
out and he's like,
he
what
starts
did he say?
screaming.
He was screaming.
I
That
don't
was
remember.
funny. And they were all just like staring at him.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. I want to, can I
Another
jump
part I like. Well,
finish?
I'll just say another
Yeah.
part I like is when he follows her to class and the bell rings and she goes in, and then there's like an invisible cut, and then the
Yep.
bell rings again.
That was
And I
funny
watched this
too.
with Zev, and Zev was like, I thought it was just a short class.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna
Um,
jump to
wait,
when
okay.
I wanted to jump to when she goes to his apartment.
Okay, yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Sick.
Um, we find out that Mrs. Robinson had told her family that he had raped her.
Mhm.
And I was like I was shocked.
It's also not off brand for Mrs. Robinson, though.
No, it's not. But I was like, rape? Are you
Yeah.
rape is not a
And
light accusation.
that's another point where I was like not really understanding Elaine's weak willingness because there's no way that she kisses a man that was even accused of raping her mother.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm like, what's your thought process here? It never made sense to me, and I don't think it ever will. Because their characters, I don't know, kind of muddy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's a crazy accusation, very dramatic. And she screams, and there's that thing with the landlord, and it's really embarrassing. And then she
Yeah.
leaves, and then she goes off,
Yes.
um, for her marriage, and that's when you're getting the final thing of the movie.
Yeah. I do want to
Uh,
highlight a very funny line.
yeah.
When Elaine's dad comes and is like, I'm gonna call the police or whatever the heck. And then the landlord's
Mhm.
like, get out of here, get out of here. I'm gonna call the police on you. And he's like, can I make a phone call, please? Please, please, can I make a phone call? He's like, no, I'm gonna call the police. Um, Wait. Yeah, because he goes, I'm gonna call the police, and then he goes, okay, but before you do, can I make a phone call? I was dying of laughter. I was like, you are so
That whole
unserious.
interaction.
You are so
Yeah.
unserious. Like this man is trying to get you arrested. And you're like, no, no, wait, 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 wait. Before you have me arrested, can I just make a phone call?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's so unserious.
And then he starts chasing Elaine, and he's
Yeah.
actually serious about something once in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the third editing choice that's like my favorite in the
Mm-hmm.
movie. Is when finally he goes into the shop and he calls the secretary of Elaine's dad to find out where the wedding is, and he goes into the shop, and then Simon and Garfunkel's like energetic song. I forgot what song it was, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
one of the more energetic songs. And he slams the table and he's demanding to know where the marriage is, and he slams it. And finally, for the first time, the music syncs up with him hitting the table.
Oh, okay.
And it's like it symbolizes, and why this editing and this sound design and this music choices are so, it really is emblematic of how genius the editing is in this
Mm-hmm.
movie. Um of how subtly it's telling you for the first time something is right, something is on beat. And then we start seeing him filmed in a more comfortable way for the first time. He's more center frame. He has an objective in life. He's going somewhere. He's going to get Elaine back.
Yep.
And then he goes to the church. And what were you thinking?
Well, first of all, when he crashed the wedding and like he started waving the cross around like an absolute madman,
What
I
is
was like,
this? Wedding Crashers with Owen Wilson.
no, seriously, like I was dying of laughter. But
Yeah.
he was like banging, he was like, Elaine, Elaine, whatever. And
But it
she
was it was
caved.
kind of sweet. Yeah.
It
It's
was,
kind of sweet in like a bad
yeah,
way.
yeah. It was sweet, and she caved, and she runs, and they run together. Um, and
And it's
they
cute.
Yeah.
They get
But
on the
they
bus.
get on the bus.
And then wait, so
And I have a
Okay,
note.
I've seen this ending. There's a lot of interpretations. It's one of the most
Yes.
famous endings of all time.
Let me say my
Um,
interpretation, and then you tell me what you
and
think.
I no, I was gonna say I want to
Okay.
know how you were feeling with this,
Okay.
because it's definitely a great ending, in my
Yes.
opinion, at least.
So they're on the bus, and I literally said here, like, I don't know, great ending. Great
Yeah,
ending, but it's kind of sad.
it's
Um,
devastating, in my opinion.
because the music that's playing is The Sound of Silence, which is not a happy
Yeah.
song, and you
Uh-uh.
wouldn't expect that to be playing after they run away together because, like,
Yeah.
they've been kind of pining for each other. He clearly wants her. And then the way that they're looking at each other and then looking at everybody else, and then towards the end, they aren't looking at each other. They aren't smiling. They aren't giddy,
Straightforward. Yeah.
straightforward. That's depressing.
Very. Um, I'll say this, the bus is full of old people, which is
Yeah.
an interesting choice because they're seeing where their life might lead, and and the old people are all turning back to judge them. And besides all of the age generational commentary that's going on here and the
Mhm.
commentary on kind of romance movies in general, and
Yeah.
how this isn't the kind it's obviously not the kind of movie that's gonna make you romantically satisfied. Um, and Ben will never be satisfied in life, and he'll never find a direction. That's what's so tragic. And
Mhm.
Elaine won't either because she's so weak-willed.
Yep.
And besides all that, I really connect to this feeling of melancholy of at that ending where something like seemingly happy is happening and then the music starts creeping in.
Mhm.
And it's a feeling I've experienced in the past before, and I'm sure you have too, a kind of universal feeling of when something happy and great is happening in your life, but you can't feel connected to it. You
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
still melancholy and sad. And that ending captures that feeling so well for me, especially with this song that's such a famous song but
Mhm.
also works so well. um you forget how overplayed it is.
Yeah.
um and it's just such a sad and sobering ending.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow.
Do
I'm
you-
I'm glad that, well, I mean, obviously I thought you would interpret it in a similar way, but
yeah,
should we get to our ratings?
yeah, I think we should.
All right. Okay, so do you want me to go
Do
first for, or
yeah.
do you, okay. All right, all right, all right. My rating of the graduates
Hmm.
is okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go off of my own scale for this one
Hmm.
because not the letterbox scale.
Okay.
I am gonna give it a crisp 4.2 out of 5.
Okay.
And the reason why is because
Okay.
I don't think it's quite a 4, but it's not quite a 4.5.
Yeah,
So I think a 4.2, 4.3 is good for me.
I understand that. What worked for you and what didn't?
I think the first half obviously really worked for me.
Hmm.
And again, it's kind of like the second half where to me it felt a little it was just weird,
Hmm.
and it felt almost, I mean, I don't want to say out of character, but like based off of everything we've built about
Yeah.
what's his name? Benjamin?
Ben.
Ben
Yeah,
in the first half, and then him going and being a stalker, and then like it, I don't know, like it just felt very
I get that. I get that.
off to me. Yeah.
It's hard to grapple with, but again, such is life, and the life of such a loner,
Mhm.
such a pathetic man.
Yeah.
That's also a little bit of Ben in all of us, which is hard to come to terms with.
True.
Um, and I understand that rating a lot. I'm gonna go for a 4.5 for this
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Um, again, like I said, Elaine's and like the second half, I guess, is a little bit weaker, I would say, but then that final sequence makes up for everything. And this movie is such a classic, Simon and Garfunkel's soundtrack. I mean, they have such melancholic music, but some of their music is optimistic. I love Simon and Garfunkel, and it fits perfectly for this movie.
Yes, I
Obviously,
agree.
because they wrote the songs for the film, but just in general. Um, and, like I said, this is such a classic. It's one of the most influential movies of all time. So obviously, I'm not going to rate it a low rating.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the fact that a movie is super influential doesn't have to mean I like it. It's just, this movie is just so famous and
Mm-hmm.
so intertwined into my mind and pop
Yes.
culture and everything, where it's like it feels like such a valuable watch, and it always does. And not just that, like objectively, the film is like really well done and really one of the best. Do I like the Birdcage better? Yes, subjectively, that's my shit
Yeah,
more.
yeah, okay, yeah.
In terms of Mike Nichols, but this movie's just wonderful. Um, and
And I do want to
so and then
say, sorry, that
yeah,
I did have a really like this movie was so fun to watch.
right.
And I think if you watch it with people who have the same humor and will understand it, it would be like
Mhm.
a lot of fun. So,
You know what's cool about Meli is that she has a very flexible sense of humor in general. So um like the fact that she could like poor like me and her both really like Poor Things, which is
yeah.
like a completely different style of comedy, or like
Uh-huh.
we could both laugh at the stupidest shit, but also you can watch something called like The Graduate. Like if you have a good sense of humor like Melly, like you're gonna fuck with this movie
Oh,
comedically. So it really is a classic. Aren't you glad you watched it?
I'm so glad I watched it, and now the poster
Finally.
being on my wall can actually be there because I've seen the movie.
Yeah. Um, but shall we get to another movie
Yes, let's do it. I'm so
that I'm
excited.
picking?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous, guys.
No, I don't like the background. So,
I'm
my pick
nervous.
is another classic,
Oh,
but
okay.
we haven't done this in a while. That we haven't picked a movie that we both haven't seen in a while.
Ooh,
So
oh,
this is a movie we
okay.
both haven't seen.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay.
Um, it's very famous, and it's from a very famed director in the art house field in the classic film genre.
Okay.
I'll say this, okay? I do own it. It was a blind buy. It's from 1991. So a relatively newer to what we've covered in the past. Um, it's very famous for its cinematography. Um, People sometimes like to compare it to another film we covered on this podcast, Amelie. Um, the movie is directed by Krzysztof Kieslowski, and the movie is The Double Life of Veronique,
Oh my
starring Irene
god.
Jacob. Yes, yes, yuppity yup. Um,
This
this is
is
my
in my
pick.
watch list.
Yes, I know. This has been something I've been trying to get to for a long time. I think we both need a nice, sad palate cleanser.
Oh my
After a
god.
movie that's so emotionally like confusing and all over the place. Let's
Yes.
watch something with a vision, with the direction. Krzysztof Kieslowski's international breakthrough remains one of his most beloved films, a ravishing, mysterious rumination on identity, love, and human intuition. Irene Jacob is incandescent as both Veronica, a Polish choir soprano, and her double, Veronique, a French music teacher.
Ooh.
Though unknown to each other, the two women share an enigmatic, purely emotional bond, which Koslowski details in gorgeous reflections, colors, and movements. Aided by Slawomir Idzaik's, I'm messing up these names, I'm sure, shimmering cinematography and La 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 La's haunting operatic score, Koslowski creates one of cinema's most purely metaphysical works. The Double Life of Veronique is an unforgettable symphony of feeling. Um,
Ooh, wait. Okay. Wait.
I'll show
This
you guys
is
the packaging next episode probably, but
this
whatever.
is directed by the guy who did the Red, Blue, and White trilogy.
And Decalogue as well.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Oh, is
so
it so
really
it's in
excited.
Polish.
It is a
Okay.
Polish film,
Yeah.
which is nice. I'm actually Polish, so it's cool.
You are?
Yeah.
What? I did not know that. What the fuck?
I am half Iraqi and half Polish in terms of like blood.
From your mom's side?
Yeah, my mom is Polish. My mom is
What?
100% Polish.
Did not know that. I knew your dad was Iraqi, but I didn't know your mom was 100% Polish. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, look at that.
Awesome. Well,
Um, yeah.
your
So
mom's
I
hair
guess I'll
does not
see.
look, I feel like Polish I associate with blonde, but your mom's hair is like dark and curly.
Well, hmm, I wonder. Yeah, no, I wonder.
Awesome.
I'm sure she's not actually 100% Polish. Like there's probably somewhere. And also a lot of people of like the Jewish ethnicity tend to have
True,
like
true.
curly hair and all that. But yeah.
Awesome. I'm very
Double Life of
excited.
Veronique. I'm excited to watch this as well for the first time.
Yay.
So thank you guys for listening in. If you're still here, watch the Double Life and form your own opinion.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next pod. We'll
We'll see
graduate
you.
from this one.
Yes. And we'll move on to our next era of movie.
Era of movie.
Yep.
See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Good night.